How about this customer states? Customer states, is your technician going to stop being lazy and get my stuff done already? Oh, yes, ma'am, I will. Damn it, I'm only recovering from surgery, but I'll make sure I jump right on it right away. What did Rob always say? Rob always said marriage is like legalized prostitution. Okay, yes dear, I'm gonna go get your brakes done and your oil change done and your tire sensors done, and that power to the P ain't cheap. So, oil pan gasket's leaking anyway, so may as well go ahead and pull it down while we're here anyhow. Go ahead and update that, you gotta update the little hat that goes on the oil pressure switch or oil pressure regulator inside here anyway. So luckily I got a new gasket and everything for it. It's 4 bolts on this cross member. You pop this cross member down, and then you'll have to separate any lines that are attached to this. 2-wheel drive, so I get the benefit of doing this easier than the 4-wheel drive guys. You see some oil right there, right in the back. We'll go ahead and get all that cleaned up. It looks like 10 mil. We'll release that bracket, and then I'll undo that switch, the level switch right there, and a little harness right here in the front. I'll pull that off, get it nice and loose, and then I'll work on taking the bolts out all the way around to loosen this pan up. We'll go ahead and get this all out of here. Sorry, I didn't realize it was fading away. But go ahead and get this all out of here. It looks like 10 mil bolts all the way around. Looks like it's gonna be pretty clean cut and dry. I'll get this cross member out of here first. Yeah. Trying out the new icons, man. These super nice. 18 millimeter. Nice close. No slop in it. Really nice. Nice snug fit on the bolt. It's got the reliefs in the corners, so it doesn't like super grab, but it grabs enough in the center to where you don't feel any of that slipping going on. Really nice setup. Let me get these off the rest. The cross member's out. I took the 10 millimeter bolt out of the side right here to pull the trans lines away. I unplugged the sensor. I don't see anything else fighting me here. I drained the oil. Plug's out of it right now. 13 millimeter plug. And I had our lube tech come over and knock the, or our semi skill come over here and knock the cross member out, because I don't want to push it with my hernia surgery only being, what, 7-8 days ago. I was afraid of swinging a hammer, so I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to have somebody else do it, and I'll just do all the nice easy stuff of taking things apart. And luckily everything down here has got undercoating and stuff, so nothing's really rusted all that bad. Just a note, I noticed that the GM trucks from this year, from like the mid-2000s and stuff, when you see them 15-20 years later, the blocks, the motors underneath where they undercoat everything, it looks so much better. There's nowhere near the amount of flaking and stuff on the motor. It's just very, very light, a little bit of surface, tiny bit of flaking. But all like the Fords, the town cars, the F-150s and stuff that come into the dealership, when I see those same vehicles from this year, it's like GM used a much, much better quality paint than Ford did, because it has much, much better protection, and they look 10 times better and easier to work on than any of the Fords. So it's a little bit of a blessing to me to get a chance to work on something that's not just all tore the hell up. You know, with this having 160, 170,000 miles on it, and it's just, nothing's flaking. It's all just surface. So I'm going to spray this truck down with, not arch oil, but fluid film, and drive it for a couple weeks, and then recheck it, wash it all off, and then spray it again. But I'm going to go ahead and finish getting the rest of the bolts out of the pan. Oh, I forgot the harness in the front. I got to get this harness off right here at the front, and then pull this pan down. So the pan is off. Little rough, not too bad. Inside of the motor overall though, above it, looks pretty good though. Actually, it's not that bad for this being 16 years old, and there's no like build up anywhere and stuff. It could use a real good motor flush. You can see right there's a little bit of soot build up right in the corner of the block. Can't get in there real close, but overall, I mean, looks pretty damn good. There's no This is coming from a young woman that never really serviced her vehicle like she was supposed to. I mean, she'd take it in for oil changes sometimes 2,000 miles past, 3,000 miles past, but overall, pretty impressed with these LS motors from the mid-2000s, or any of the LS motors from, you know, GM during these years. Just outstanding motors. I'm gonna go put this in a hot tank. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this fuel pressure. What do they call it? It's a fuel pressure regulator switch or something like that. I really don't know what the hell it is. It goes up in the hole right there, and they say it just kind of sprays oil all over the place. And what the update is you put a hat over it with an O-ring, and it redirects the oil back in there so it's not spraying it all over the place and getting whipped around. So I'm gonna get all this cleaned up and get everything put back together, and I'll show you what it looks like. I'm at, I got the pickup tube pulled out, got the oil pan and everything clean. Got a little bit of residue on the bottom. I'm gonna wipe that out of there before I finish up. That wouldn't come out when I put it in the hot tank. I got the sides cleaned off and brushed with some 100 grit. I'm gonna put it just light dab, or just dabs of silicone in all four corners where the front cover meets the block. Right there, that rear cover, that rear main meets the block. Got a little bit of oil coming out, so I better hurry up and get it up there. And then wiped everything down real good. Go ahead and put my pickup tube back in there and bolt it back down, and then get my pan set up there. This is how this is gonna go. This is gonna go on here first. This is the update for these LS 07 and forward pans, I think to like 2015. And there's my new switch going in there, and this will stay here. And when you tighten this down, it's gonna tighten down. It's gonna redirect. Supposed to redirect some kind of oil or something like that. As this screws down, oh, I'm not even looking at the damn thing. As this screws down and gets down inside there, those holes will hit the side of this and redirect back down into the oil pan. So I'm gonna get this all put back up there and situated, and then show you it all installed. So here, all I'm doing is just taking you around a brief view of the pan. Yes, I do have a little bit of silicone. I'll explain more at the end of the video why I did that. Everything's bolted down nice and tight. Sensor plugged back in, or my level sensor, and then got my lines and everything put back up there. Just kind of showing you how clean the front is, and then wipe that crank sensor off right there, because I missed it with oil. Front cover goes back up there, or that lower front cover goes up there. It's a set of 15mm bolts. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to work through here and just pour 5 quarts of the Kirkland Signature Series full synthetic 5W30 Dexos approved. And the funnel is actually a Lyle funnel. It's just rebranded Mac. Everybody asks me all the time where to get this. This funnel works on like every single application, especially the EcoBoost Escapes, and where the front, like the cowl, the plastic area by the windshield wipers kind of comes over the coolant reservoir. You can wash this thing out and use it to fill coolant, because you can't really get straight on the coolant to top it off or something like that, or do flushes. So this funnel works great, not only for oil but also for coolant. It's just a phenomenal funnel. There's 5 quarts. I'm gonna grab my other one and measure out another quart, so I got 6 total. I used a Wix XP filter on this because they didn't have the platinum in stock. They're having a hard time getting parts, so they can't get the platinums in right now, they said. As always, I'm gonna learn you all something. So here what I'm doing is get done with a big job like that, where everything's clean and dry. Foot to the floor. Hold the accelerator down, and then take the key and crank it over for about 5 seconds. And this will put it in flood mode. This is going to pre-prime the oil system. And then let go after, let off the gas, and it'll start right up. Fires right up. I let off the gas while it was cranking. The vehicle started up. Oil pressure came up to right at 40 psi. And it should stabilize and come down to about 35 psi after everything warms up. It was real good. Engine was real quiet. You see the tire lights flashing right there. 60 seconds. This is after a few minutes of running. I'm up at about a third of the operating temperature. I'm going to take care of those tire sensors at the end of this video and show you guys how I actually go through training. It's a GM thing, but the Napa TPMS sensors are very nice to sync with the GM protocol on how everything likes to train. And I'll cover that more at the end of the video too. So oil pressure is good, about 35 psi at idle, about half temp right now. And I'm going to let the vehicle run for a little bit, sitting here just letting it warm up, get things moving through there, that gauge as much as I can. Let it get up almost to operating temperature, especially after all the repairs and stuff I just did.
Trying to make sure that,
Just get things moving through there, and let it get up almost to operating temperature, especially after all the repairs and stuff I just did.
that,
Yeah, let it get up almost to operating temperature, especially after all the repairs and stuff I just did. And I'm saying I'm looking at the temperature right there as it's rising slowly. So
smooth,
that's where we're at
it's
with
so
that.
smooth right now.
Here I am about to get out of the vehicle. Everything ran great. Kept 35 psi of oil pressure. Now I move around to getting the tires done actually. So putting that hat and everything on it. We'll see what happens with the oil consumption on this oil change. And I'm going to go ahead and pop this tire off and that tire off back there and change the TPMS sensor. I already did that one and that one about 6 months ago, and what the sensors I use are these 921021 RCs, and they're self-learn. So you put it in the truck in tire learning mode, and then you air the tire up and down, up and down, up and down. When it sees the pressure drop and then increase, it picks up the sensor and learns it. It's already fucking fixed. Sweet. That's quick, dude. That thing's fast. Pretty sick, ain't he? Yeah. Oh shit. You got that? Oh shit. Nice. Motherfucker's strong, man. And then I got one done. I got one more to go. Let's go over there and knock this out real quick. Teach you guys how to learn these Napa sensors. They're really good, easy to learn. All right, I got all the wheels and stuff put back on, tires installed. I'm gonna put this on the ground and let's go inside the truck and put it in tire learning mode, and I'll show you what to do next with your air gun. Just get in here and put this in learning mode. I'm gonna push this information button. Front left tire PSI, right front PSI, right rear, engine hours. Something about, there's a way you can get into, I forget what the hell it is. Relearn tire positions. Check. Now you gotta go air up and down, air up and down, up and down. Set this down for a second. So it says that one's learned. Where we at? 24.1. Let's go ahead and fill it up to where it's supposed to be, though. I'm just gonna put them at 35 right now. I'll set everything later. I'm not sure what this truck is, 35 or 40. Hell, it might even be 32. 33. See, when I was hitting the trigger like that and just barely bleeding off there, and then I pull it all the way and I apply air. So there's a release and an add. And it likes to see drop and increase when you relearn the tire positions. So now we go to this wheel. You only got so much time per wheel, I think. I don't know if it's total or if it's per wheel, but Alright, I learned that one. That was me going up and then releasing, going down a little, going up, releasing, going down a little. Where am I at right now? I'm at 40. I'll go ahead and bring it back down to 35 like the other one. I love this Milton gauge because it knows exactly where you left off, and as soon as you hook it up, it turns on immediately. This is by far the best gauge I've used. Out of the Snap-on, Mac, all of them, this gauge right here is the #1 gauge of all of them. Alright, so now we go to the back. I don't know if I got enough cord here or enough air hose. I might have to pull a lot more. I'm gonna upload this video separate too, because I'm sure some people would like to see this completely separate from everything else. This is that other new one we just put the tire sensor in. I like the Napa ones better than the AC Delco ones, honestly. I think they learn better and they last longer. The AC Delco ones I've had a lot of problems with. This one learned. Go ahead and air it up to where it's supposed to be. Go to the next one. All right, we're good. We're learned. All right, y'all. It's the end of the customer states saga for today. Even though she's my customer, my personal customer. But you know what they say. If you like it, you should put a ring on it, right? You know what Rob also says? Marriage is nothing but legal prostitution. When she wants it, she gets it. Customer states, get off your ass and get my truck done like you've been saying. Yes, ma'am. Y'all be blessed. Take care. This was just dry humor. Don't get offended by it. Peace out. Real quick as a closing. The tire pressure on this 2007 GMC Sierra 4x2 5.3 liter is 35 psi. I still had a tire light on, but there was pressure registering. Even though the tire was at 35 psi like you see right there, it still was only registering like 24. It's fine. As long as a number is present, you have registered the sensor and it's now active. You need to go drive the vehicle a few times above 15-20 mile an hour, and as you're driving, all of a sudden it pops up and the tire light goes off. So now all my tire sensors are back on board. Everything is good. Y'all be blessed. Take care. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm not used to doing GMs. I did do a little something different on this that you normally wouldn't see. I use silicone above and below my gaskets. I know people say you don't need to do that. It's something I personally do, and I've never had a problem with it. Especially on older vehicles where I've got to take a wheel to something and clean it. I always use a slight smear above and below the gasket, and then I bolt it together. Oh, one more thing. The power steering line going to the rack, the one on the inside, the one towards the driver wheel, I had to take that nut loose and pull that line out of the way so I could drop the pan down all the way. Forgot to tell you that. That's it. Take care. And if you need part numbers and stuff, look back to my oil consumption videos on this GM truck in my library, and I've already got all the part numbers listed.